Okay, so in the previous experiment, we used phenol red to detect whether CO2 was being given off by a life form doing cellular respiration, and that is a qualitative result, yes or no, depending on how the indicator changed color or not. But other times we might want to know how much CO2 is being given off in a more precise way as opposed to just yes or no. So we can use a probe to detect the amount and measure the amount of CO2 either in a room like this or in a small container like we have here, this little plastic container. So we're going to use this little plastic container in our next experiment, and to keep it steady and still on the table we have these weighted plastic donuts to sit on it. You're going to place your subject in the little container and then the probe into the container like this. Give it a few minutes to settle and calibrate itself, and we have a device that will then give you readings in parts per million, once it's set up correctly, of how much CO2 is in the little container to start with, and then maybe changing over a period of time of the experiment. Okay, so in this experiment A2, we're going to use our little containers and our CO2 probes set up the way that we described previously. And we have two different samples of subjects to test for the possibility that they're doing cellular respiration and giving off CO2. Again, we're going to use beans in this case that have been germinated. So again, baby plants doing their thing, we assume, in the beans. And they've been allowed to germinate at two different temperatures. One set of them has been at a 4 degrees centigrade temperature while they're germinating, the others at room temperature. So two different temperature situations for our subjects. And once we get the beans from the two samples in the containers, the probes inserted like I demonstrated before, let it settle and get situated. And then we begin to record with our devices how much CO2 is being given off every minute during the time period indicated in the lab directions, up for a 10-minute period, and see in a comparison then how much potential cellular respiration they're doing given the two temperature environments that these life forms have been subjected to.